It's kind of fun to follow after retro player because like, it's kind of highlighting what's fun about Heimdall, I guess. So I wasn't really sure about what to talk about for this, but I guess I'll focus on what's needed to get it in. See if I can. Yeah, and I guess the current plan of inclusion is to basically split Heimdall into separate modules. Currently, all the code is located in one single blob, essentially. Not a file, but a folder. So I guess we need to split that up into core and video, audio, and games, for example. So that each add-on could depend on just a number of these modules. Then the next part is essentially just to push it to the add-on repo. I think ROM collection browser is already using Heimdall at this juncture, but I guess it would be nicer if we had it in the repo so other players could use it. Then the only part, if we want to have it work with the other scrapers or the other parts of XBMC, would be to have a Python scraper, and I think that's already possible. I don't know if anyone knows. I think there's already code for Python to scrape, right?
For JSON, you mean?
I don't think so.
No, there's no core code that allows Python.
Okay, I thought Arne had done something about it, but never.
Yeah, no, I think there was a PR at some point, I think, but I'm not sure how complete it was. But I mean, what essentially do we need to pass to the scraper?
I guess, yeah, I guess, yeah. Not really sure what you have.
I heard this before.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened.
Neither are we.
Just gotta ignore everything here. So I guess games, as pointed out, is a great first trial for Heimdall. There's still
I'm trying to get out.
There's a microphone icon on the top, press it.
Yeah, I think it's muted now. And I think Garber kind of showed what was needed, except in extension to Heimdall with the with the library and such. So what I would like to fix and what I would like to point out is it might be nice to handle API keys better. Right now it's mostly hard-coded, and I guess if different parts of the community, I guess different add-ons want to use Heimdall, they maybe should provide their own API keys for the audio DB or the movie DB.
Absolutely.
So that's one thing, but it's kind of a trivial change, I guess. This is a bigger one. We need to differentiate between errors and warnings. So we know when a scraper is failing. It should be kind of a trivial thing as well. This is a bigger one. I have had discussions with Arne about it before, and it might be a good thing to talk about here. We need to decide what to do about the ontologies. Basically, I'm not sure if everyone knows what an ontology is, so I'll show it here. Basically, it's a named property, and it's named with a URL. So it's globally unique, which is, it has its positives. Basically, it's very, how should I say, it's globally unique. It's well defined. It has some big downsides though, which I'm sure Garber has seen as well, and I can point them out. It's hard to find ontologies which how should I put it, which works with our, we add quite a lot of things like fan art and stuff, and the whole ontology world is kind of slow to adapt to this, so they have these cores, title and identifier, but nothing else. So I guess we need to decide what to do about the new ones. Either we just accept that they won't work, or we force a third party, for example the add-on creator, to define them and put them up on a website and everything. I find this kind of cumbersome. And otherwise, I guess we could manage them. So we had these XBMC ontologies, but don't know if we want to administrate that. It's quite a lot of work, I guess, and especially when they're globally unique and supposed to be well-defined. This is a big problem, in my opinion. So I'm leaning towards moving Heimdall to not care about them, and if the add-ons want to use them, they can, but it's not something forced upon, which it is at the moment. Another thing is finalizing the task API. And to explain this, I want to showcase how the task API actually works. Basically, the entire scraping process is split into black boxes, small tasks, which can be isolated. They have one input, they depend on a few inputs, and they give an output. And these, we have many of these. We have a pool of these. Essentially, one black box could be scrape IMDb, or just extract metadata from the MP3 file. When we put many of these together and run them in parallel, and then the output may be combined to do so that a third black box can run. And this is how we essentially make the entire scraping process. We go through these stages where we can run these tasks, then we do, and then we look in the next stage, what can we do now, and then we can do more, because we know more. So basically, Heimdall is split into stages, which are each dynamically made. And at the first stage, we just purge impossible tasks from the pool of tasks. And these tasks will never run, because they cannot run. And this is, for example, if we have if we know that the file we're looking at is an audio file, it makes no sense to ever run the IMDb scraper. So then we purge that task. Then we isolate any doable tasks. So for example, if IMDb will need a title, so it makes no sense to run it before we have a title. So then we just pause that task. But then we have either hard conflicting or soft conflicting tasks. And these, for example, IMDb may be better to run when we have a date, but it doesn't need a date. So if a task in the pool can provide a date, it's better to wait with that one. And this is called a soft constraint in Heimdall. A hard constraint would be, well, something which, for example, the title example, really. And after that, we run these tests. And the nice thing about this stage now is that since we know that there is no conflicts, we can run each of these tasks in parallel, which makes Heimdall greatly parallelized. Parallelized, not paralyzed. Never mind. This is the API, and this is, I want to highlight this because this is problematic and so one thing I haven't been able to solve really. So this is the current API. You define a task, and it demands that the subject is in a certain state. And in this case, it just depends on the identifier or the URL contains a dot essentially in the end. So it has an extension. And then the black box will produce a class, and it will produce a title and a MIME type. So basically it will go from this to the other part and add those parts. The problem here is that this API only works on basic types and only on non-complex types, which doesn't really work well if we want to do something like this. For example, if we have say we are searching for, we're doing the refresh. We have already scraped a movie, and we want to refresh that movie. Then we want to get more than one. We search on IMDb, and we search on the the movie DB. We don't want to just get the URL, because then we need to scrape that URL again. So it would be nice, because the MovieDB actually gives quite a lot in the original search. So we would like to have these, if you look at the second part there, that we add more. We have complex types essentially. And this is one thing, the current statement, the current API here doesn't really work with that because it's only it only works on a single property and not a hierarchical property. And this is the one part I haven't been able to solve really nicely, because it's hard to map if an input and an output will conflict if we have complex types. There are alternatives like JSON schema, but it contains regex, for example, and it's really hard to know if one regex will intersect with another regex. So it's hard to map input and outputs if they will behave, if they will conflict or not. This is really important, I guess. So I guess I would love if someone knows how to do black box scheduling with I don't know, with complex types, because this is one part I haven't really been able to solve. So I guess that's essentially it from me, and I hope I made some sense. Otherwise, Garber is quite good at explaining Heimdall better than me.
Cool, thank you.
Any questions?
Wait, what's up? A while back, let's see, in February, I posted in the forum kind of an overview of Heimdall's similarity to an inference engine, if anyone wants to hear that right now. What was Top FS2 asking?
You just curious if you can explain it.
Oh, yes, I can explain it. Would you like me to do so?
Sure.
Let's do it. Can we hook up a computer?
How much work is to get it into core?
A lot. But it's a new scraper system, so
Yeah.
You just need a way of you might have to run it as a thread, and you might need a way to pass data in and out of Heimdall. I haven't looked into that. It's over my head.
Active Heimdall?
So,
That's the main thing we need for Heimdall to go in. To actually talk to XBMC and update.
How many Python modules does this use?
it's almost completely the scrapers themselves rely on a couple of modules, and you have to look at some themselves.
Well, I'm just concerned because we're going to be passing a rather large part of the code base over to a rather unstable part of our code base.
Unstable?
Crashes when we try to post the application. So, I mean, Python is a bit of a problem, and the submodules
Am
are
I
a problem.
still on the speakers?
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone looked at the computers, I guess I am. I'm sorry, but I'm actually running out of time. My family's coming over.
Okay,
So I'll leave it to, to you now.
cool.
But I hope you have fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sure we're here.
Explaining Heimdall.
Just take it over.